Hello, fantastic people of the world. My name is Bhuvaneshwari Charu, and I am here today to talk on behalf of Areteans as we are welcoming the International Women's Day 2022. I have with me a fantastic set of people whom I will be talking to regarding this year's topic of Break the Bias. Having worked in the corporate for a little over 23 years, what I've noticed is that as much as there are situations where we need to overcome, there are more situations where a gender agnostic team of people has worked together to help a lot of women like myself grow in their career and actually get a space at the table. And so here I have with me my fantastic panel, starting with Aparna Akku, who is our Associate Director for Strategic Initiatives, and then Riya Rana, who is just about finished a year of her work with Areteans, one of the young kids on the block, and then Ayan Chakravarti, who is our Director of Technology. Now, let me start with asking Ayan a question. So, Ayan, as we were discussing that breaking the bias is not gender specific, would you like to talk a little about how we need to be talking about humans as equals and inclusivity for all, rather than just structuring the conversation around gender?
Absolutely. So, yes, the bias is not only about the gender. I've spent around 16 years in this industry. I've seen biases around which geography you come from, which part of India you're coming from, in India, outside India, even what's the physical appearance. Happy to see that the world is improving now. But yes, I have witnessed biases around these aspects.
Is there any place in your career you would like to pinpoint and talk about a scenario where a group of people came together to actually overcome a bias like this? It could be a small one too, but the small ones snowball into the larger ones like we always see, right? Would you like to share any incident like that?
Sure. It was, initial years of my experience, maybe the first year or the second year. And I came from a different geography in India into Hyderabad. And there was a conscious guidance from our company's management that all meetings have to be in a language which is understood by everyone, which is essentially English, right? But then, unknowingly, unconsciously, discussions went into local languages. And of course, at that point of time, me, including a few other associates, we took a stand. And it was, in fact, a drastic stand of actually walking out of the meetings. In case the discussion continued in any local language for more than a couple of minutes. And that really helped. I'm happy to say that we were supported at that point of time. It was taken on a positive note and things did improve after that.
So, Ayan, you actually answered another question that I had on my mind about unconscious bias, right? This is what happens when a lot of times we are not, like they say, right? You need to be consciously inclusive to avoid an unconscious bias, right? And so, Aparna, coming to you, have you seen stereotypes around this in your career? And your take on that, and if you think as senior leaders, what can be woven into the fabric of an organization so something like this becomes second nature to people?
Yeah, unconscious bias is there in everybody's mind because that's, I think, a part of our growing up and how we've been, what environments we grew up with and what cultures we grew up with and what we've been taught also. So like unbiased conscious could be like something like a nurse can be only a female, like a train driver is always a man. Kind of these things are very unconscious biases that we have. So coming to corporate world, unconscious biases are there underlying, but it doesn't come out in the open that much. But I think the new age technology has helped a lot in this aspect, especially if we are doing some Teams calls and all these things in the new generation right now we see. think people are listening to what people are saying rather than focusing on where they are, what they look like, and how they are behaving, and all those things. So it is kind of helping us right now with all the teams meetings that are happening. Earlier, it was just like a one directional conversation from the management to the rest of the world. But right now, I think management is including, I think, consciously people from different backgrounds and races and cultures to come onto the table and openly talk about their interests and comments on every topic. So I think it is changing, but yeah, a long way to go.
Thanks for that, Apu. Ria, you are the youngest here, right? And you, as of what I know, you've been in the corporate also for not very, very long. Would you like to call out any common biases that you would have seen in this 1 year, and also maybe how you've seen people around you trying to break that and make you feel comfortable?
Yeah, very nice question, Bhuvna. So basically, it's just 1 year or like few months. Like to me, I'm in this corporate world, because before that, I didn't knew what exactly how it feels to be here in the particular office. Because I think my batch is the only one who has done the training from online training basically. And in that aspect, I haven't seen any bias with the trainers and all, because they are treating everyone equally, rather than they are from every geography, basically from China or from Chennai or from Hyderabad or from North End. And me coming from the North End to this place, it's like a very change of taste, a very change of food and all, right? So when I just like, it's like 1 year, and there are obviously 3 or 4 projects I worked on. So it's like I had just seen the bias on the knowledge basis more. It's like when you are when you are a fresher, and it's like 1 or 2 freshers come into the projects together, right? So you have to treat them equally in some aspects. It's like obviously one of them will be having less knowledge and another will be having more knowledge, because these two aspects can be, it's obviously not equal in every person's life, okay? So it's like I have basically heard one very senior saying that, like, I know what's your capability, so I know you cannot do this, let's not make you do it. So in that scenario, I think it's like you should give the person who doesn't know the chance, so that they might get the thing how to do it, how not to do it, rather than giving the person the chance who know how to do it. So it's like you should give the opportunity to them, like to make them prove themselves. But speaking on that aspect, the project I'm currently, it's the best project so far I had. It's like, if you can ask, basically I'm getting like all of the opportunities which I have to work into. So yeah, that's the basic bias I had seen so far. But it's like, yeah, people are so good that they are improving and they are making sure that freshers get the most opportunities here, so that they can prove themselves and they can grow into good leads, consultants, anything they want. Yeah, thank you.
That's nice. So did you call it out?
Actually, being a fresher, I think I'm not in a position to call it out, right? Because we are afraid in our hearts that maybe if we call it out, so we can be like, basically, we can't get more projects here, or like few people can be against those things. So we are a little bit, being a fresher, it's just my thing. Maybe it's like in few more freshers that if we call it out, maybe they can take charge against us, something like that, or like they can say to us something. Yeah.
So let me tell you this, Ria. You and a lot of freshers who are watching this, hopefully this helps you. So one of the biggest aspects of inclusion that we forget is calling out what we think is not right, right? Because as we're talking about unconscious bias, right, maybe they're not doing it on purpose, and maybe you calling it out is going to set it right, right? And so calling out when you think something is not actually going the right way is a responsibility, right? Like they say, right? It's a saying that I've been hearing for a very long time, that in a lot of cases, just feeling the victim is not enough. Calling it out is your responsibility, right? As well, as much as it is the responsibility of the other people to fix it, there might be times that you have to. So can you please make a promise to yourself and to the rest of us that if you feel anything is contributing to any kind of bias, you will call it out?
Yes, of course. Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. So I am a little thinking about whether to ask Apu this question or Ayan, but I'll go with Ayan. And it's, we've seen women coming a long way, right? Um, Breaking the glass ceiling and things like that. How would you say men have been helping in this? What more can men do? For that, I ask you this because it's a statistical thing that there are more men in leadership roles than women when we take a global statistic view. How do you think this can change?
So yeah, a good question, Bhuvna. And I mean, in fact, right now, I don't think it's an exception. Also, right? It's a norm. Women breaking the ceiling is a norm now. It's not an exception anymore, and men have to play their role there. It's not a I mean, as with men in the leadership roles, women have always supported, right? So I think it has to be a balance. I mean, when the women play leadership roles, the men, whatever roles they're playing in their profession, both have to support each other. It's not necessarily either of them playing the leadership role and the other one supporting. Now that support can be anything. It could be domestic, it could be professional, it could be a professional grooming as well, or as basic as just taking care of the kid when your spouse is up to something. So yeah.
I'd like to add something to Ayan. I think
Yes.
probably men, I think what we lack really, I feel that is like we do not have any proper mentorship role, mentoring done for women into leadership. I think that is something that is still lacking in our industry. I mean, we acknowledge them when they break through the classes only, otherwise, they are not looked at as a potential. So I think that is where we are lacking. I think we have a lot to work there with the leadership.
So, in addition to what you said, Akum, what would you say is that the corporates as a team could actually do to create a more diverse leadership?
So diverse, again, it doesn't just mean gender here. So what I would say is like we need to have a holistic view of what the company wants, what they want to achieve, and pick people according to what they're looking for. It is not like a bias to think like, okay, if it's a HR, then it has to be a female. No. So we have to break those kind of a thing and pick the best HR that suits your company needs, what they can do for your company, how they can progress your company. I think that should how we should choose the diverse team that the leadership wants to progress the company into the next steps, but not just based on, okay, I know this person or HR needs to be this kind of a person, or just go by what they see in the resume. No, it should be going beyond that and beyond gender, definitely.
It should. And I want to ask a simple question, Leah. If you were to close your eyes and imagine a leader, who would that be?
Shall I name it out? Okay, so I'll close my eyes, then I'll say that. So I think it's Debarshi Roy. So basically, I'll be going with the developers because I am a developer. So the time when I was in my the worst conditions, like I was not able to take the things up because being a fresher, you are in the position that everything is coming at you, and you are not in the state of saying anything like, okay, fine, why this task is not done, like why it is not done, because anything can be the issue, like the dev is slow or something. But the motivation I got from him is like, at the time I was like, I cannot do it, and he was like, you can do it, and I was able to do it after 1 month. It was that long, but yeah, it was the thing. So it's an honest answer basically. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely well. And why did you not see yourself when you closed your eyes and thought of a leader?
Actually, I right now in this position, right, so Bhuvna, I am not in the state of thinking that I am satisfied with myself, because it's still a lot of way to go. I have to learn things, because being a leader, it's like you have to motivate people, not only development or anything delivery task, but it's like in the person itself. You have to be like, you should be the example. The people should follow your words, what you're saying. So I think I'm not in the state to let, like, okay, 1-2 people are enough, but the state that someone can think that you are an example to be. So yeah, that's why I just thought of him, because like I should be the one that whenever someone else closes their eyes, they can see me. Then I'll be the leader. So that I can just think of myself.
I like that. And in these lines, from a youngster to the management, for you to achieve what you're trying to achieve, what would you think are a few things that can be done by senior colleagues to help you reach there?
Okay, first of all, I'll not say that they'll help me in my development task at all because that's what I have to do. The thing is that they should be paving the way for the freshers. They should be like, okay, fine, I can do the task, but let's you do a task. Like, let me give you this chance. That's what I can think. It can be given the way that we all can come up and we can be the seniors. That's the only thing I guess. Like paving the way so that we can take up ourselves.
And to Ria's points, what is it that you think we can consciously do to again create that conscious inclusion and break the bias?
Yeah, having been through the same experience which Ria, has been through, there needs to be a mentor in the industry, and we, as leaders right now, need to ensure that we have those mentors to the newcomers to the industry. Mentors not only professionally, mentors who would address your personal concerns as well. Other than the professional aspects, and someone who gives you the comfort level, right? So you need not hesitate to approach your leader, right? So that should be the approachability is the key, right? So you have to give that space and make that comfort level where a mentee is able to reach you irrespective of any difference in the designation or the roles we play. So and in our company, right, we do have a buddy system which I like a lot. It's not only about somebody who's starting early in the career. It's about the lateral entry also who's just joined, and in these remote days of working, right, where you don't see the faces in person, having a buddy assigned helps a lot. You can actually reach out to the buddy for anything, knowing anyone in the organization or understanding a process or any technical issue. So this culture needs to be enhanced, and I strongly believe that with this, all the newcomers will feel more and more comfortable.
That's nice. Aku, you add something to
Yes.
that?
So coming to Ria's point as to, at that level, if I were there and how I've come up from that hard work is like, I think hard work has no substitute. It is, and of course, taking responsibility are the key to grow in any organization or any work for that matter. So I would say that initially you need to put in that hard work and take the responsibility, and then have the right mentor and get that approach done. And you should call it out. I would say, like, we should not, if you have something to say, you have something to do, I think it's always best to put it out on the table. I think that's what I think our youngsters should learn and come up with, saying that this is what I've done. Just don't go and say I don't know. That's not an answer anyways, and nobody would like to help you when you say I don't know. It's like, no, I've done this, but I still cannot get this. I think that should be the approach, and that way I think even the seniors would encourage and see that, okay, she's already done her homework and we know where to take her next, and that kind of information can come from these seniors. So coming from a senior perspective, what I see is like, yeah, we do have good buddy systems and all that stuff, but I think always, at least in my past experience, what we always done is, apart from the classroom trainings and everything, we always do a fun activities and glass breaking sessions when actually you're not bound by four walls, and wherein your actual natural talent comes out and people do recognize for what you are, apart from what you do at office. I think that also plays a lot of importance in your career and how you grow up and how you develop yourself. So I think that should also be taken as something that consciously the management should do. Go meet them at the ground level, grassroots levels, talk to them when they are growing up with you as an organization. That's what I feel.
So here is one question to maybe wind up to all the three of you, right? Lot is being done by the corporates. Lot is being done by the individuals in the format of what we are learning on a continuous basis. What is the one thing that you would do to break this stigma? Break the stigma of any sort of bias. Any sort of bias.
I think I'll go first then. So basically, I think we can have a bulletin board there, right? I mean, we can put a bulletin board in the office and we can write out our thoughts there. Like, basically, it's like we are coming from the different places, right? So we can put like what, I mean, like let's say Aparna, right? So she's from Hyderabad, right? So she's having a few holidays, especially like events captured in her mind. So she can write it down the facts of that festivals. And maybe I'm from Himachal, I can write it on mine. Maybe Ayan is from different place, so he can write it out. So it's like you can have a cultural bulletin board there, and you can like see and all the things, pictures, posts, and all. So it's like quite fun to see and get motivation to come into the office every day.
Yeah, I love that thought from Ria. So, I think the charity should also start at home. And I think for me, especially, I think we need to, and Aparna also mentioned in the beginning, it's about the culture where, how you've been brought up. And I think at least in our families, in our homes, we should at least let the kids be, aware of this, make them conscious. To have no bias in terms of anything, any aspect. Let it be gender, let it be physical appearance, and that way I think we can make a better world. So
For me, I think the stigma is getting broken a little bit. I see, and I think COVID has helped a lot in this, because I think kids have seen their fathers help in the kitchen. They've seen their fathers do the cleaning, and they've seen the mothers go out and shop. I think a lot has changed over these 3-4 years, I would say at least 2 years from COVID. So yeah, we are breaking in a little bit, but I think coming to corporate, we still need to do a little more to break the stigma. I would say maybe we should have more get-togethers and have a conversation where everybody is heard. I think we need to have at least a weekly or bi-weekly or whatever it is to have everybody come up together and have as an event or something, which is, even if an account is celebrating something, we should hear from everybody in the account as to what the contribution was, and not just one or two people speaking. I think that's where I think we should start including everybody into the scenario.
Fabulous. Now, one last question, just a one-word answer maybe. And of all the types of biases, right, what do you think has infected the world the most? Race, gender, disability, ethnicity?
in one word, I think ethnicity.
Okay, Ria, you?
I think the same. Yeah, that's
Yeah?
the same. Yeah, it's the same.
Apu, you?
I feel gender is still the biggest one.
You still think gender is the biggest one? Okay, so that is something to be taken care of. If a senior person says that gender is something still to be taken care of, my 2 cents is been on women in leadership panels for quite some time in my life, and have been on leadership roles for a while. My sincere take on breaking any sort of bias is, the moment we start talking about gender, we are creating the bias. It is about work, it is about learning, it is about growing together. All of this is just gender agnostic, right? The minute we start talking about that continuously and building that, I think that would be the first stepping stone in actually breaking the bias. Because it is not about the numbers that speak on charts as to how many women do we have, or how many people with what ethnic background do we have, is what is actually going to break it all. Right? It's about how beautifully are people helping each other grow, and maintaining a happy planet is what is the thing to, in lines with this year's theme, Break the Bias. So thank you all for being a part of the panel, and thank you very much, Ria. Those were freshman perspective, which we do need, and those will be very good inputs. And thank you, Ayan and Aku, for telling us what you've learned through your way. And if there is anything else, we'll have another shoot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.